I know we cover VTubers here, but I really want to talk about the lore behind Holostars Tempus. Elysium is a digital world created by humans in an attempt to escape the physical realm. For the most part, they seem to have been successful, with RegisAltare being the first adventurer to enter the nation of Utopia. But not too long after, a flaw in the world system known as record corruption appeared and began to wreak havoc among its citizens, causing the infected to painfully wither away and changing wildlife into monstrosities known as corruption beasts. The landscape is dominated by a giant tree known as the Holo Tree, which can be seen from anywhere in the world and connects to all data within Elysium, similar to the world tree Yggdrasil from Norse mythology. With the introduction of the new nation, Xenokuni, we learned that nearly all its citizens were NPCs who have gained sentience due to the constant creation and destruction caused by record corruption. They now question the validity of Utopia, as it doesn't appear anyone outside the adventurers have gained that sentience. It also makes me wonder if the title of adventurer identifies individuals who once had a physical form. RegisAltare is the leader of the Tempus Guild in the digital land of Elysium. He was the first adventurer to set foot in the world and also the first to try and change it, stating that the masses chose not to act, so he'll take a stand in their stead. This makes a lot of sense after we learn the inhabitants of Elysium outside the nation of Xenokuni aren't sentient, with the possible exception of adventurers, though there don't seem to be that many. Although Altair seems to have a special destiny in the world, having been given his gun saber by the otherworldly being known as Omega Alpha, he discovered that being a solo adventurer is rather hard, so he set out to recruit new members, convincing Vesper and Axel to join through a display of combat skill, and Magni wouldn't leave him alone, so he joined too. They used the local pub as a guild base, and later added Vanguard to the roster in their never-ending quest to change the status quo. His birthday's on January 29th, he's 179 centimeters tall, and his class is Hero. NoirVesper is the scholar of the Tempus Guild, having been recruited by Regis after he proved his fighting skill. He has an aversion to sunlight from staying inside all the time, is an avid drinker of tea, and might just be a clone made by Magni, but that's a story for another time. He is the custodian and arch scholar of the Grand Library, which aids him with the research for all of his guild's adventures, and is not a vampire. Probably. Despite his many responsibilities, he has managed to retain a childlike wonder, letting him talk about his dreams and helping others discover theirs. AxelSyrios calls himself a doctor, but I wouldn't see him about a medical issue unless the cure was destroying a corruption beast. Because if my liver needs surgery, I want the problem fixed, not a giant hole where my liver used to be. He joined up with Tempus on a whim after inviting Altair to spar with him in the Elysium, opening the fight by throwing his skeleton throne one-handed. We don't know who won, but he's grown to truly enjoy his time with the guild as its personnel management, though he did try to be treasurer, which he thought meant person who finds treasure. His name comes from the star Sirius, which is the brightest star in the night sky, matching his over-the-top personality. His birthday's on November 1st, he's 187 centimeters tall, and his class is Gladiator. Where do I even begin with MagniDezmond? He's the publicist for Tempus, the creator of Copium, the cult leader behind Magmo, owner of a philosopher's stone he sacrificed 1,000 souls for, and he also has an army of tofu Vesper clones that he sells on the open market. This is probably why everyone in Elysium thinks he has a dark side. Because he does. His name, like Altair and Vesper's, was inspired by the 3 stars that form the Summer Triangle, with his being Deneb. He's also the most traveled of the group, as his business Magnacorp has him visiting all corners of Elysium to find the truth of the world through the union of magic and science. His birthday's on October 21st, he's 184 centimeters tall, and his class is Alchemist. JosuijiShinri, ex-Ronin and archer extraordinaire, is one of the newest members of the Tempest Guild. His prowess with the longbow is so renowned that a common belief is he can use anything as an arrow and still hit his mark. His journey began with a test in Xenokuni involving corruption beasts, which he failed, causing one of his hands to turn blue. Realizing how much he still needed to learn, he set off on a journey of self-discovery, part of which was spent in isolation, lamenting the futility of war. But eventually he returned and came across MagniDezmond fighting a pack of corruption beasts. Picking up the bow once again, he joined the fight and later the guild, and now works towards redeeming himself and not letting one failure dictate his whole life. His birthday is on June 23rd, he's 185 centimeters tall, and his guild role is field reporter. BanzoinHakka is the only member of Hololive to get slapped by the CEO during their debut.
Oh my god, Yago-san!
You can't escape from me by hanging up the phone program.
Hakka is an exorcist that has great skill with his twin spears, though he used to have 3, having apparently sold one to Vesper. He, like Shinri, has been afflicted by the record corruption in his right hand, but unlike the other in Tempus, he's also inherited the data from Makaru Sutengu, allowing him to jump great heights and giving him more endurance, though he acts a little more bird-like and even wears a mask to help himself sleep. He was forcibly recruited by Tempus after having shown his skill in battle outside Xenokuni, but seems to be happy with his newfound friends and now works at the guild providing tech support. His birthday is on April 21st, and he's 174 centimeters tall. MachinaXFlayon is a man of many voices.
Wait, what? His adaptability is unreal!
Don't worry. I'll take good care of you.
He's also the pilot of the super robot known as the Artress, which has been around for as long as he has. He's 18,432 years old, by the way. He controls the Artress with his antenna tail, and while we don't know the exact size of the robot, it's implied he's not even bigger than its toe. We also know it runs off his own energy, so let's hope he just doesn't pass out on the way home, or there might not be a city left after his catnap. He's also a prodigy who can instantly learn how to pilot any form of transport, though he's skipped so many steps in his education that he occasionally has trouble communicating, which is ironic given that he's the customer support representative of the Tempus Guild. His birthday is on June 5th, and he's 166 centimeters tall. GavisBettel is slightly insane, but to be fair, it's probably not his fault. He travels a lot, and at some point he picked up a pet named Phantom, which has had some interesting effects on his life, but I'll just let him explain.
Ever since I met Phantom, I felt strange. It's like he's been sucking away my life force every second, and I'm a puppet, and he's the puppet master in some sick, twisted game!
Despite whatever that was, he's also the secretary for the Tempus Guild and has traveled the world to learn its performing arts. He even led the expedition that was sent to Xenokuni with Flayon, where he found Hakka and Shinri and convinced them to join the guild. He now spends his time working in the combat arena, but soon he'll take his talents worldwide. His birthday is on May 17th, and he's 180 centimeters tall.